Today's video was sponsored by Amazon Music Unlimited. Now you get a month of Amazon Music Unlimited for free. Whenever I'm editing or drawing, I like to listen to some 90s pop music, and Amazon has a wide selection. And you can stream your favorites too, and get access to 70 million songs on demand. It is not just music. Download the app to have access to your favorite podcasts. One of my favorites is a podcast named Scooby-Doo. Shout out to Mike Josic. Stream and listen on all of your devices. And the best part, no ads. You can get your first month of Amazon Music Unlimited
for free.
For free!
That's right, for free. Just go to getamazonmusic.com/cartoonguy. Again, that's getamazonmusic.com/cartoonguy. Now, on with the video. Well, you heard me gush over the Cartoon Network Powerhouse era and how important it was to me growing up, and for the channel in general. Now let's talk about their second best era, CN City. Originally this video was going to cover the full City era timeline, but Shadow Streak already covered that in much more detail, so check that out when you get a minute. But today, I'm going to talk about the year that stood out the most. So let's take a nostalgic trip to 2005.
There you go.
2005, as you all know, was a busy year in entertainment, especially in television. It was the year Family Guy was brought back from the dead, reality shows were on the rise, and hit comedies like It's Always Sunny, Robot Chicken, and The Office debuted. In kids programming, Disney Channel continued to pump out hit shows for the tween demographic, while Nickelodeon would end one of their flagship shows and revive their most popular one after a hiatus. They would break new ground, debuting a little show called Avatar: The Last Airbender. While over at Cartoon Network, their then still pretty new rebrand CN City was in full effect, with its memorable bumpers. For those who don't know, during commercial breaks, the network would air these short bumpers showing every Cartoon Network, Hanna-Barbera, Warner Brothers, and MGM character in one setting. This huge CGI city. It was really creative. Where else would you see Johnny Bravo and Samurai Jack doing laundry, the Eds trying on Ami and Yumi's clothes, or Mandy and Raven interacting? There was nothing else like this at this time. And let's not forget the new logo, which is just a C and an N, and a new announcer, a young woman named Nikki.
Now it's Codename Kids Next Door. Then it's Atomic Betty. This is Cartoon Network.
This new year saw the debut of new shows like Camp Laszlo, featuring the misadventures of a monkey named Laszlo attending at a Boy Scout summer camp named Camp Kidney, filled with other anthropomorphic animals. The show was very funny and had a very surreal sense of humor, almost having a Rocko's Modern Life feel to it, which is interesting seeing how it's done by the same creator, Joe Murray. The show would air its final episode in 2007. There was also The Life and Times of Juniper Lee. This Monster of the Week show featured a high school girl, the titular Juniper Lee, who's the only one who can see monsters and demons, both good and bad, as they are separated from the human world thanks to a magical shield. I liked this show when it came out, but I love it as an adult. The whole show is a good-natured spoof of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, as well as having similarities to other Save the World from Supernatural and Get to School on Time cartoons, which is sort of a weird trend back then now that I think about it. On top of that, Juniper Lee is a likable protagonist. Some of the monsters do have great designs, and I do remember a lot of these side characters. And it does have Asian representation, which is really nice. The creator is Judd Winick, who actually has an interesting career, from starring in MTV's Real World San Francisco to writing Batman Under the Hood for DC Comics. The show ended in 2007 and fell into obscurity, but I really hope more and more people check it out. It's criminally underrated. Also, my gym partner is a monkey, about a boy who accidentally gets sent to a school full of wild animals. Yeah, I was never a fan of this show. It was a bit too obnoxious at times. The show's creators were husband and wife duo of Tim and Julie Cahill, who actually wrote for much better projects. Finally, we have Ben 10, created by comic book group Man of Action, about a 10-year-old boy who could transform into different alien creatures thanks to a device called the Omnitrix. You're probably gonna hate me for this, but I never cared for this show. It's definitely a creative idea, don't get me wrong, but the characters just never did it for me. I just kinda thought they were dull. But hey, the show launched a franchise with toy lines, several incarnations, so joke's on me. But I will admit, that theme song kicks so much ass. For the viewers that weren't into the newer shows, there is the revival version of the cartoon show, where instead of original animated pilots, it would consist of reruns of older classic Cartoon Network shows that were no longer airing on the channel or recently ended. Speaking of classics, many of the old Hanna-Barbera and Warner Bros. Cartoons had a permanent home at Boomerang. Tom and Jerry and the occasional Scooby-Doo cartoon will be the only classics running on CN. Ending this year, Megas XLR, Jenny Tartakovsky's Star Wars Clone Wars, and the original run of Powerpuff Girls. This wouldn't be the last time we see the latter two, as Clone Wars will be rebooted in 2008, and Powerpuff Girls will get several crappy revivals and specials. Returning this year, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, codenamed Kids Next Door, and Billy and Mandy. Also returning Ed, Edd and Eddy, which originally was supposed to end in 2004, but renewed for more episodes due to popular demand. This new season was notable for the use of digital ink and paint, as Ed, Edd and Eddy was the last show to use cell animation. On Fridays, co-host Nzinga Blake would lead the show and would be replaced by anime voiceover actress Tara Sands from that year until its end in 2007. In addition to Toonami still going strong on Saturday nights, notable blocks this year included Turkey Days, Cartoon Network's Holiday Rush, and the short-lived Tickle You. This was Cartoon Network's attempt to get into the preschool market. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. Though definitely not the first time, this was when the network's identity was set in stone, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense to show cartoons aimed at toddlers on the same channel that showed raunchy adult cartoons late at night, admittedly. At least they learned their lesson and never made that same mistake again. Fuck! Cartoon Theater continued with no Don LaFontaine, but most notably, they added movies owned by Time Warner's competition and even live-action family films like The Goonies. Now, of course, we can't talk about this year without mentioning Cartoon Network's Summer. This was awesome. Remember when I said Cartoon Network's programming blocks used to be a special event you had to see? Well, case in point. I remember as a kid just graduating from 5th grade and being so excited to watch this. The bumper showed all the cartoons at this rock concert, which was a nod to Woodstock. I still remember certain ID spots too, like Laszlo with the ice cream. Speaking of which, this was also when Camp Laszlo and Juniper Lee debuted, as well as the premieres of Kids Next Door movie Operation Zero and the direct-to-video movie Aloha Scooby-Doo. And let's not forget that catchy as hell theme. It never got this good again. The following year, it was replaced by the Yes era, and while not as bad as what was to come, it was...
I like music. I do. I like music that goes like la 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 la.
Trust me, if you thought Fred was kinda funny and Billy and Mandy, after watching these bumpers, you're gonna want to strangle him. As the years went on and Cartoon Network started to get their act together, I remember noticing they put in less effort in their bumpers and rebrands, and financially, I can see why. They can get really expensive. That's not the only reason. In my opinion, there was something magical and iconic about the Powerhouse's City era that can't be topped. But quite frankly, with TV dying and streaming services on a rise, why would they need to? A lot of the Cartoon Network shows, old and new, are available on HBO Max. And even I've taken a liking to the newer stuff. I love Craigie Creek. I'm warming up to Teen Titans Go, and I'm just getting into Infinity Train. Currently, YouTube is the place to see all these old bumpers of yesteryear, and a great reminder that these cannot be duplicated. They came out at just the right time. Who knows what the future will hold for Cartoon Network, but hopefully they will continue to entertain generations of cartoon lovers and kids just like they did us millennials. Until next time, I'm 47 Cartoon Guy, and I gotta fly.
Just get on down to
Where's that again?
Cartoon?
No, that's not it.